the materials, right, for you guys to be successful in the June exam, both me and the lecturing team. And I really like the energy at the beginning area where you were asking the question of what is the expectation. And there were a couple of you guys who came in and you were talking about, exam technique, you were talking about time management, you were talking about, you study very hard, but you don't know what the issue is. So all of those things are things that we are going to respond to through this program. And what I always say is IAC is an exam of two phases, right? So there's the technical part of things, and there is the exam part of things. And with the technical part of things, because you guys would have been through CTA, so I do believe that you guys have the technical knowledge. It's just a matter of us now going to brush up the technical knowledge a bit. But I do believe that you guys have that technical knowledge. It's just now a matter of ensuring that you also get the exam technique. And the exam technique is important in this exam, because if you have the technical knowledge but without any exam technique, that's when you start making those mistakes, and at the end of the day they work against you. So in this program we are going to then address the two things that I spoke about, the exam technique, and we're going to address also the technical issues. So what we then do when it comes to the approach, we first then just take a step back and think about some of the challenges that the candidates have, right? When they go and write this board exam, what are some of the challenges that they face, so that we become proactive in this board exam and ensure that we address those things, so that by the time you guys go and write in June, we've addressed those mistakes, the common mistakes that you guys make, so that you don't repeat them come June exam. And also what I want to just say is, because there's going to be some people who are repeating, right? Most of you guys, you find that you are repeating. I like the fact that you came, you took the first step to just find out what do I need to then do from where I am going forward, right? Because history does not exist anymore. So you don't want to be focused on, I failed, I don't know what happened, but you want to take that initiative of, let me see if I can do feedback. Let me see what is it that I can improve. What is the gaps that I need to then still address, so that I become successful in the June exam. So I'm glad that you guys took that first initiative. But like, as I was saying, we then think about the challenges, right? Some of the common mistakes that you guys, candidates will make. And the first thing, as we then go and as we are marking and we are seeing the mistakes that people are making, is the limited feedback and understanding of the mistakes that you guys are really doing. Okay. So in this board exam, this is what we're going to address. And I'm going to tell you what we need to do and what we are going to do to address some of these challenges. So feedback is important. And feedback means going back to my script, my answer sheet, and identifying the mistakes that I'm doing, and identifying if these are exam technique mistakes or if these are technical mistakes, right? Is it a lack of a principle, or is it a time management issue? Is it a communication issue, or is it a lack of business acumen? You need to go and then do that feedback. And it's going to be different from one person to another person, right? One person might be lacking a certain competence, and then the other might be lacking a different one. But you need to go back and reflect and understand the mistakes. And that's one thing that we are going to be enforcing in this board exam, just to have you guys in every class task that we do, to have you guys go back, take your script, and then understand the mistakes. And let's talk about the board, the question bank. So we have the question bank with a lot of questions, but I always say that is the quality rather over the quantity. We want you guys to attempt as many questions as possible. However, we want you to attempt a question and be able to first reflect on the question before you go to the next question, so that you know and you understand that the mistakes that I've done in this question, I'm not going to do them in the next question. So it's not a matter of now just doing all of these questions without then reflecting. So that's what we are going to then try to also just enforce as part of this broadcast. The other thing is with regards to the timing and work pressure. And there was a comment in the chats of someone who was talking about CTA format as compared to IAC. And we do understand that. We do understand that June board exam, it's the time is limited. You guys only have around 10 to 12 weeks before you guys go and write. So within a blink of an eye, it's going to be the exam already. So how do we then ensure that we curate and structure the program, taking into account the time pressure that we have? So we went and we sat down and we took that into account to say that we have 2 weeks. How do we then get the maximum benefits from this time that we have, so that when you guys go and write this exam, you are well equipped in order for you guys to be successful? Okay. The other challenge that we then see, right, as we are marking and as we are engaging with candidates, is the issue of not having enough practice when it comes to the exam itself, and not really practicing and understanding the standard of the exam. So as part of this board course, we are going to have mock exams, and I'm going to talk about them. So these mock exams, they're going to then be sort of like an IAC format, where you guys go and write 3 sort of like papers, and we're trying to mock IAC. So it then gives you that challenge of saying, let me just go there and let me give it my best. And then we are going to mark this. We're going to give you guys feedback, and you're going to then see some of the mistakes that you are going to identify in that process. So that by the time you go and write the IAC, you have been through that position. You have been through the exams that are given in the IAC format. Okay? Yeah, I think there's someone who is unmuted. If you can please mute. All right. And the other thing that we spoke about is the continuous support, right? So this, throughout this program, we're going to be giving you support, either via consultation. Ada is there as well to give you both emotional support. We're going to be giving you technical support. So you're going to then get support throughout. So we're not just going to then leave you guys to do the program and not give you any support as you go through the program. Linnea will be checking up on you guys. If something is due, she will be checking up with you guys, reminding you guys some of the things, so that at least we give you that support throughout this program. So these are some of the challenges that we, amongst others, that we are trying to respond to or trying to address. So the big question is, how are you going to address this, Manda, and your team? So the first thing that we've developed is what we call the IAC competency framework. So this is a framework dealing with competencies. So we believe that an IAC candidate who's going to be successful in June will need to develop all of these competencies. And I understand that, like Rendane will say, competency is achieved over time. So maybe at the beginning now, you might be lacking when it comes to business acumen. You might be lacking when it comes to time management. But throughout the program, you're going to be developing this competency. And we believe that if you develop all of this competency going into the June, it means that you will be in a better position for you to be successful. And what's interesting from this slide is this competency framework includes both the exam technique, which is what I was hearing a lot from you guys, right? And it also includes the technical competency, because like I said at the beginning, IAC, it's an exam of 2 phases. You have the technical, you have the exam technique. So we believe that you need to have self-management. And I think this goes back to what Ede was explaining when it comes to the brand, right? Be your number one fan. You need to be accountable. You need to take ownership of your own development. Because if we're saying that there is a class task that needs to be done, you need to then be accountable for you to then be able to do that, that class task. There's communication skills. And what's good is we will also go and unpack what we mean by communication skills. Because if you come to me, right, during the course of the board exam or the board course, and you say, Manda, I'm struggling, my question to you will be, what are you struggling with? And maybe you respond and you say, I'm struggling with exam technique. I will ask you again, what do you mean by exam technique? Because you need to define what you mean. Because exam technique from me, it might be different as compared to someone else. So I'm going to continue and ask you guys, what do you mean by exam technique? And you say, okay, maybe I'm lacking with communication skills. I'm going to take a step back again and ask you, what do you mean by communication skills? Because I might be struggling with communication skill, but the component might be different as compared to the other person. So the goal is to identify what is the issue, and you need to go in detail in terms of identifying that. You can't just say I'm lacking exam technique without understanding what exactly do you mean by exam technique. And an example of this, I'm just going to skip this and go to the next slide. Example of this will then be communication skill. And you see how detailed we go when it comes to communication skill. Is it the issue of overwriting that is a problem? Meaning that when you are doing your reflection, you are seeing that you are writing a lot, but it's not translating to the marks. Meaning that you are wasting time as you write things that are not going to give you any mark. Or you end up overwriting. There are people who will copy the question again, right? So you have the required, they will go in the answer book, rewrite the required, and then start answering. So you can see that now you're overwriting, you're writing things that are not going to translate to a mark. And remember IAC, whatever I'm putting down has to translate to a mark. Otherwise, it's just wasting time, or it's not going to give me any benefit. So we still go and down and in detail to say, what do we mean by communication skills? Is it overwriting? Is it you not structuring your response? That is a problem. Is it you not showing your workings? That is a problem. So as you write these class tasks that I'm going to talk about, we go and give you the feedback based on this detailed structure of each and every competency. And you then get to improve. And you don't just say communication skill, but you say, oh, maybe my presentation is a problem. Or maybe I'm overwriting when it comes to communication. And that's what I need to focus on so that I can be better and I can develop this competency. So this then becomes our competency framework, and this becomes a core of this board exam. And you'll see all the lectures, the lecturers, they're going to talk about this. They're going to be talking about business acumen. Are you developing critical thinking? What about integrated thinking? We are seeing a lot of IAC being integrated again, right? Time management. Are you managing your time? How are you allocating your time? What is your strategy when it comes to time management? Because if I'm asking you that question, you should be able to answer me and say, Manda, my strategy is this, 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 and this. Okay? So technical competency, again, is something that we are going to unpack. So this becomes important, right? So what is it that we're going to then include as part of the activities of the board exams? Okay, so firstly, we're going to have a script review process. At the beginning, I said feedback is important. What I always tell people, whether it's IAC, whether it's APC, especially people who are repeating, I always say, first go back into the paper that you wrote and it was not successful. Go and do proper feedback. I want you to do, even if you're taking your time, it's fine. Go do proper feedback. I want you to come back to me and say, Manda, I deserved to fail because of the feedback that I did. I saw that by the time I was writing, I was not ready. As I'm reflecting, I can see that, yes, indeed, I was not ready, and Saika did not make a mistake, or ICAS did not make a mistake. That's proper feedback, because you go and see the gaps that you have missed. You go and see that, oh, these are the issues that I have. And you figuring that out gives you now an opportunity to start working on those gaps. And that is important, and that's vital for you to understand where you went wrong. You can't then just start and jump into this board course, because you're going to make the same mistakes that you were making in the June exam, or yeah, in the January exam rather. So we have this script review process, where in this script review process, you guys are going to submit your scripts, and we're going to review the scripts, okay, using our NI feedback and the inputs of the lecturers. So I'm going to talk about this more. So you give us, and then we go and reflect. And as we reflect against the competency framework, and we then tell you what you did well, what you did not do well, and advice going forward. Because reflection is not only about the wrong things. It's also about, oh, what did I do right, so that I can continue doing that? And what did I do wrong, so that I can then fix that and address those gaps? So in that script review process, we do that. However, as we do that reflection, you guys at the same time are doing your own reflection, because we believe that you still need to go sit down with the paper, reflect on that paper. Okay. And I remember when I was still in varsity, when we get our papers back, we were scared to engage, especially if you did not do well. You'll just take that paper and then put it away, and then that was going to be the last time you see that paper. So we're not going to do that here. We're going to then go and engage with the paper. So you guys can be requesting the papers from SAICA, from ICAS. From there, we give you the review, right? And then you go and then you see the review, take your review and our review, and then you consolidate it. So that is the script review process. Okay. We are also going to unpack the paper with you guys. Whatever came, the common mistakes, we'll do all of that. The second one that I like a lot is the tutorial-based sessions. And we have had good feedback when it comes to these sessions. So what we then do, and this again talks to the comment that was in the chat that was talking about long sessions of CTA and all of that. What we then do is, our classes are tutorial-based. So what it means is, you guys are going to be given a class task, right, at the beginning of the classes. And you guys are going to write. So that class task, you're going to get it. If the class is on Saturday, you're going to get it Saturday. You start writing at 8. So you don't see it during the week. During the week, we are giving you guys other questions to prepare. You have the question bank. We've given you a guide on what you need to do. We give you these tutorial class tasks Saturday in the morning. You write them for an hour. So it means that you sit and you write it. You write down. After writing, you submit at 9 o'clock. Okay? At 9 o'clock when you submit, I said I'm going to talk about our NI, right? Our AI marking tool. We go and mark that class task. As you submit, it's going to be marked, and you're going to get instant feedback. So as you submit, in the next 2 minutes, you're going to get feedback of the class task. Once you have that feedback of the class task, you engage the feedback. Remember, you just wrote, so everything is still fresh. You engage the feedback. Why didn't I get this? What is the problem with this? Okay. After engaging with the feedback, the class then starts at 9:30. And when the class starts at 9:30, we go and unpack those class tasks together. And I think this is it's a sort of like a good approach, because things are still fresh. You can engage more now with the lecturer to say, but this is how I was thinking about it. I was doing it this way. Why didn't I get it right? So it means that even those discussions in class, as we unpack these tutorials, they are more comprehensive, and they're effective, and you get the most out of those discussions. So this is the classes that we're going to have, both the Tuesday classes, or the classes during the week, as well as the Saturday classes. You're first going to sit down, write the class tasks, submit, get instant feedback, and we go to the lecture session and we unpack some of these principles. Okay? So those are the tutorial-based session. And as we give you feedback, we give you feedback in accordance with the competency framework, right? To say, okay, this is what the competency framework is saying. This competency is still lacking. What you did well, what you did not do well, and advice going forward. And the good thing again is we get to see your growth, because Randan is going to come with a report to say, okay, but this is how you guys were doing at the first class task. This is how the second class task were. This is how the third class task, how you did in the third class task. Individually, this is how you've been developing. This critical thinking maybe is still a problem. Time management is still a problem to you. So you also get that report that details your journey, and you can sort of track your journey and track your competencies. We also have mock exam. I spoke about this to say you need to practice before you even go. So these mock exams are going to simulate the IAC experience. So meaning that those 3 papers that you're going to write, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, we're going to then give you a mock exam. And the good thing is this is in phase 2. So we first get to develop those exam techniques. We first get to develop those pervasive skills. And by the time we do that, you now have an opportunity to test where you are by going and sitting down for this mock examination. I spoke about the continuous support and consultations. So with consultations, you're going to have the opportunity to consult with the lecturers. And the good thing is that the lecturers also see how you are doing with the class tasks. So before you even go to the lecturer, they also have now a foresight of, oh, this person is already struggling with critical thinking. This person is struggling with this competence. And those discussions now becomes meaningful because the lecturer also prepares before they even come to the consultation. And then now you have those meaningful discussions. So we're going to have consultations, and you get to consult with the lecturers. There are CTA videos that are available for you guys for all the topics. So if you're still struggling with the topic, you now have the option to even go and watch this in your own time. Listen to it. If you're exercising, you're in the gym, you can always play, listen to the CTA videos and listen to some of the principles. So these videos explain all the principles from all the disciplines, be it accounting, management accounting, tax, and auditing. And I think also Ere was talking about this when, she was reading the feedback of some of the candidates to say this actually really helped them, because sometimes, we don't have the time to unpack the entire syllabus, and you then have this opportunity to go to this video and then watch it. We have our question banks, right? And our question banks are also a good tool because they sort of like help you in terms of answering some of these things, okay? Also helps you in terms of topics that maybe you are still struggling. You can go in the question bank. We detail the topics even. So you can go and say, oh, but this is the topic that I want to also address. And then you go and attempt the topic. We also have an integrated question bank, which now integrates the disciplines. And that also is important because we are seeing where SAICA is going. SAICA is going towards integrating things, right? You have one paper that has 20 marks of auditing, 20 marks of accounting, and 20 marks of the other disciplines, and then pervasive skills. So again, this is a good tool for you guys to have. Lastly, I want to talk about NI feedback. So throughout all of these things that I spoke about, script review, tutorials, mock exam, we now have this AI feedback that tracks your competencies, that tells what you have developed, what you are still lacking, and also gives you feedback, right? In terms of what you did well, what you did not do well, and the advice going forward. And with those class tasks, you guys getting instant feedback. All right. Again, so this is how our focus on the this feedback, we always pride ourselves that we give the personalized feedback. So it's individual based, right? It's what one individual is lacking, because I always say it's people can have different issues. So you can't then just give this blanket approach. So you then need to personalize it based on what the person or the candidate is struggling with. So this again, it talks to the application of the knowledge. It talks to the competency framework that I spoke about, the time management, the layout, and it also gives recommendations, right? It does not only point out the issues that are wrong, but it also then gives you recommendations. And the recommendation might be, maybe after doing reflection here, go and do this specific question, because this question is sort of like more similar to the principle here, so that you can go and test yourself and see if you are improving and you're understanding those principles, or go test yourself if you have improved on exam technique, on time management, on critical thinking. So it's sort of like detailed, and it's also personalized. So this is the feedback that we give you, obviously in support of with our AI support, right? So yeah. So overall, maybe as I conclude, and if there are any questions, you guys can also come through. Overall, this is our program. Like I said, we focus also more on the exam technique, because without the exam technique, it becomes hard for you guys to unpack some of these things. We focus more on critical reading. How do you read those scenarios, right? Because remember, you're going to get these big scenarios. How do you unpack them? How do you break them down into different elements? And how do you improve when it comes to your exam technique? And yeah, I think once you improve your exam technique and your technical knowledge, then you are now equipped for you to pass the IAC June exam. And this is now pretty much what we are going to be doing in the board exam. Okay. Any questions? All good. Okay. Do you have anything maybe early in the chat? Guys, are you still there? Are you guys excited? Maybe let me hear from you guys. Are you excited? Guys, are you still there? I was not talking alone, right? Are you still there?
Yes, we're still.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Yes, we're still there.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If there's no question, back to you, Ellen. No, that's good.
Great.
Think. Oh, good name you got that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's no Mvula. No Mvula is saying kuning. It's a lot.
No, and it's only
It's a lot.
fair. It's
It
only
is. It
fair.
is. It is.
Yeah, I think it's only fair and understandable. Yeah. Just checking that I try share again, and now my oh, I'm on mute, Amanda.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for the engagement. I was checking them out, and I hope that I hope that